So a few weeks ago, we read the story of the turkey and the eagle. Does everyone remember that? Mr. Aiden, I know you've been to all of these so far, which is awesome, by the way. The more that you do these and stay on track every single week, you get to see everything in the book and you get all of the different perspectives from it. Mr. Matthew, he's on and off. As long as you're listening, that's what matters. So then Mr. Pizzillo covered what we see, right? And how that connects to our self-esteem. So how we see ourselves and think about ourselves, how we see other people and think about them. That's where it all starts, right? Oh, Miss Haley knows how to use the thumbs up. Awesome. And then last week, you guys talked about what we say, right? So how we talk to ourselves and the things that we say to ourselves and how that can affect us directly, right? So just by saying things like, yes, I can, or I'm awesome, or I'm smart, or I'm loved, those affirmations, like we talked about with Miss Lamoy and Mr. Pizzillo, those things help us to build our self-esteem so that we can go out into the world and be leaders for other people too, right? So last week, what we say to others, what we say to society and to the world, right? So today we're going to move on what we see, what we say, and now we're going to go over what we do, okay, and how that affects the people around us. So we're going to start with what we do for ourselves. I'm going to read the first one, and then can you guys see the words on here? Not very clearly. All right, we'll see. Maybe we'll pick a couple of people to read it too, but I'm definitely going to be looking for you guys to answer a couple of the questions so that we can all kind of talk with each other and figure out together how these things are important and part of self-esteem. Oh, Mr. Aiden's got the book. Perfect. Turn to page 21. Good. Mr. Matthew, I think, is having some technical difficulties. Miss Haley definitely knows how to use the chat. All right, so paragraph number 1. Our actions have the greatest influence on our self-esteem. When we prove the great things we believe about ourselves through our actions, we enhance our self-esteem. To achieve things in life, we set goals. The first thing we do is to write these goals down and then break them down into steps we need to take to get there. Right? So that part is really important. Let's say your goal is to get a black belt one day, right? That for some people, that might seem like a really crazy, far away goal. Like years down the line, you see a black belt and you're like, how could I learn to do a 540 or a 360 round kick or any of the crazy board breaks, right? So instead of just looking at that huge goal, right, we break it down into pieces so that we know what we need to do to get there. So to get your black belt, you start with white belt, working on your goals at home, trying your best in class, listening to the instructors and following the helpers in class, right? And then you get your yellow belt and your orange belt and those tiny steps. And then before you know it, you're a black belt, right? So we break it down into smaller pieces to achieve those goals that might seem super crazy. Does anyone have a goal in their life that's like super important to them, far off in the future? Like who knows what they want to be when they grow up? Can anyone tell me? Mr. Aiden.
I want to be a doctor and I want to cure cancer.
Awesome. So that obviously is a huge, super important goal, right? But to get someplace like that, you need to know where to start, right? So breaking it down, obviously first you have to go to school. And even before that, you need to work on your grades when you're in elementary school and middle school and high school so that you can get into medical school. So you know that there are those smaller goals that we need to achieve to get there. Miss Jordyn, go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I want to be a veterinarian.
A veterinarian? So that's another kind of doctor. That's awesome, right? So Mr. Aiden's going to be helping people and Miss Jordyn's going to be helping animals. You guys can open a place together. Miss Haley, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm going to be a pilot or an astronaut when I grow up.
A pilot or an astronaut?
First woman president.
The first woman president? I love it. I mean, maybe I hope we have one a little sooner, but Miss Haley, you have a lot of awesome goals and I know that you can reach them as long as you push yourself. So those are all really great, awesome things. And it's important that we set those goals and we focus on them and start working on those small goals now that can help us get there. One of the best ones is just to try your best in school and already do a great job listening to your teachers because they're the ones that are going to mentor you and help you to get there to those new goals. Make sense? All right, so where were we? Next, we must take action by following the steps towards our goals, celebrating every time we complete one of them. When we reward ourselves for every little achievement towards our greater goal, it helps us feel confident about what we're doing and our progress. Breaking things down this way helps us to achieve more complicated and long-term goals. And the constant repetition of this process creates the habit of success. So the more often that we set and achieve those little goals for ourselves, the more often we feel those wins of accomplishing something, the more that affirms, right? Like the positive affirmations we've been talking about. Yes, I can. I'm smart. I'm loved. Those things. Every time that we prove that to ourselves, it helps us get one step closer to our goal. Okay. So let's see, Mr. Aiden, since you have your book, do you think you can read the next paragraph for us when we have high self-esteem? Go ahead. I'm going to put you up on the screen.
When we have high self-esteem, we're constantly active, daring to try new things and always learning. We overcome obstacles and we do not stop until we achieve our goals. It is very important that we never allow ourselves or our children or anyone to quit. If we do, we might encourage the habit of quitting. The younger we learn to never to quit, the sooner we form the habit of being a winner.
Great job, Mr. Aiden. You're a good reader.
Thanks.
All right, so obviously this is super important. In order to have good self-esteem, we need to also follow through with the things that we say we're going to do, right? If I say every night, I'm going to eat my dinner, my broccoli, get ready for bed on time and go to bed, but I constantly over and over again don't do those things, it starts to set really bad habits, right? And it does things to us that are not going to help us to be strong and accomplish our goals in the future. For example, you're going to be tired all the time if you don't go to bed when you're supposed to, right? So it's really important that when you set a goal and you know something is going to be good for you and you want to work towards it, that we accomplish it. And that's kind of like the first paragraph talking about how when we reach something that's important to us, when we succeed on any one of those small goals, it really helps us to push towards the big goal in the future. All right, so we're going to turn the page now, Mr. Aiden. Go to page 22. And now we're going to talk about what we do for other people, right? So self-esteem, even though the word self is in there, it's not just about us and what we say and do for ourselves. But once we feel good about ourselves and we know that we're strong and we can do anything that we set our minds to, it's important that we then go out and set that example for other people to help them grow with us, right? So what we do for others, people with high self-esteem are people builders. This means we help build others' self-esteem, and in doing so, we take our self-esteem to a higher level. We show others respect and gratitude and pay them compliments, realizing that these simple gestures will surely contribute to their self-esteem. We find ways to enhance other people's abilities and are constantly looking for opportunities to help and empower others to be their best. Right, so last week when we talked about what we say with Miss Lemoy, right? Who was here last week? Awesome, perfect, all of us. So last week we talked about what we say and how important that can be to other people. But if you think about it this way, and we'll add a little bit more to this later, every time you say something positive to another person, you might think that it only affects that one person, right? So let's say I say, Miss Haley, I love your sweater, right? That might seem super simple and not really important, but now I said something nice to Miss Haley and I helped to make her day better and was the leader for her. So now she might go to Miss Jordyn and say, Miss Jordyn, I love your hair. Or she might go to Mr. Aiden and say, sir, well, your hair is pretty cool too. I love how confident and strong of a reader you are and that you always volunteer, right? So she's going to go and be nice to other people. And then they go, now Miss Jordyn, I don't even know Miss Jordyn's family or anybody that she knows, but she might go be nice to them and say nice things to them and help build them up. And then they'll go to work and they'll do the same thing. And eventually you being nice to one person can spread to a lot of different people. It's like a ripple, right? When a drop falls into water and it spreads. So it's really important that as leaders, just being nice to one person can change everybody's day around you. Yes, Miss Haley.
And also, if you do that, you could also end up with the ripple effect. And then when the person who's planning on doing something kind for you does it to you, basically, it just happens.
It all comes full circle, and then that helps us build our self-esteem back up again too, right? All right, so next, when we meet a person for the first time, we smile. A smile will automatically make a person feel at ease, while it also makes us feel happy, right? So a lot of the things that we do for other people are also gonna help us and make us feel stronger. If you walk around all the time with your shoulders down, looking at the ground, unsure of yourself, right? Those things just continue to make our self-esteem go in this direction. Right? But if we're smiling and helping other people and building them up, it makes us feel better, right? Good. To enhance others' self-esteem, we recognize their achievements. We highlight others by giving them an award or showing them some type of appreciation. We must be humble enough to show gratitude and give others credit. People with high self-esteem always give recognition to others first. We show we are truly leaders by building the self-esteem of those around us, right? So some of the pillars that we talk about, which we're gonna practice later too, are gratitude and generosity. And those things are really important because we know that if we have good self-esteem, we're not perfect, right? Is anyone here perfect? Just me? No, I'm just kidding. Right, so nobody's perfect. We're awesome and we're great and we're always trying to get better, but everybody needs help from other people sometimes. So it's important that when you get help from somebody else and you ask them for help, you then thank them for it and you show them gratitude, right? That's one really awesome way to show self-esteem and help other people right there, is just thanking people when we know that they helped us, right? Like for example, instead of getting upset with mom and dad when they ask us to do something that we need to do, like brushing our teeth or cleaning our rooms, we can thank them for being so supportive and helping us to reach our new goals, okay? All right, Mr. Aiden, can you read the "we must take time" paragraph? You can read those last 2 sentences.
Okay.
At the bottom, go ahead.
We must take the time to share our skills with others, and we must never miss an opportunity to make a difference. We must always take responsibility for our actions and share the credit for our victories. Should I read the last one too?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
We're constantly looking for opportunities to do something for others.
Awesome, nice job, Mr. Aiden. Good, so obviously, just like we talked about before, every time that we do something for somebody else, that helps to boost their self-esteem and ours. And as leaders, it's our goal to always help to build other people up, whether that's thanking somebody for something that they did for us, or it could be helping them in another way. Who can tell me one way that you can show self-esteem to another person? Does anyone have examples? Could be something super simple. Go ahead, Miss Haley.
You could give them a compliment or say something good about them.
Good, give me an example. What's a compliment that you could say?
For example, your hair looks cool.
Good one, Miss Haley. All right, does anybody else have an example? What's something else that we could do to help boost other people's self-esteem? Mr. Aiden, go ahead.
You can encourage other people to do their best. Like say one of your friends is struggling in school. Maybe you can encourage them to study more and
Perfect.
help them study.
Good. See, so it doesn't always have to be just about something that you say. It could just also be the action of showing them that you're willing to help them to achieve their goals, right? Because everybody needs help sometimes, whether you're the person asking for help and showing gratitude or the person giving help to somebody else. All right, Miss Jordyn, you have one?
Be kind and nice.
Being kind and nice. Good one. I love it. Super simple and super important. All right, so we're going to move on to the next category. Flip the page, Mr. Aiden. Page 20. Whoop, I missed one actually. There we go. Page 24. What we do in society. Okay, so again, we talk about self-esteem, but we know that it's not really about ourselves. It can spread all over the place. So now we're going to talk about society. When we have high self-esteem, we follow the universal laws and build a legacy through our actions. We make our society better simply by being kind to ourselves and others. We're conscious of respecting the rights of others. We care and take responsibility for our actions. In social settings, we're respectful of the social rules and customs, and we behave in a way that does not interfere with the rights of others. Right, so if we feel really good about ourselves, right, and we feel strong, and we feel loved, we want to help spread that to other people. Sometimes we only think about our family, right, or our friends, and how can I be nice to them, or my teachers, the people that I know, right? But it's important that we respect everybody, whether it's just the person that you're passing in the grocery store, whether it's somebody that you see at school that you don't know. There's a lot of people that we can end up affecting our lives that we don't even know it, right? For example, just smiling to somebody that we walk past can change their day, right? And I mean, sometimes people with low self-esteem or low confidence, they might think it's a little weird, right? Have you ever looked at somebody or smiled at somebody before and they kind of look at you like this and just walk past? It's because those people aren't used to that, right? So it shows you how much people kind of just focus on themselves and not about all of the people around us, right? So let's read the next paragraph. As kids, we show our self-esteem by behaving respectfully in public and by following the appropriate rules and guidelines at public places, such as schools, malls, and parks. Regardless of any negative peer pressure, we are true to ourselves and have the confidence to choose only to act in ways that our parents and mentors would approve. So this one is super important, right? When we have good self-esteem, we want to help others and make them feel good about ourselves. But sometimes there may be some people that don't feel that way about you, right? Or they might try to pressure you to do something because it's cool, right? Or because they want to do it and they want to be able to get away with it. So for example, let's say you're at home and your brother, this is a simple example, but your brother's trying to convince you that you should eat the last cookie when mom and dad told you that you shouldn't, or that you should help him do it, right? So you might think, well, if I want to help other people, then I should help them. But in reality, if we have self-esteem and we know what we believe in, then we don't let others stop us from doing that, right? So instead of letting them bring us down, we think, what would my mom and dad want? What would my teachers say about this? Is this going to help me to reach my goals and to help other people? Or is this just doing something because somebody else wants me to do it and I want to feel good and feel cool, right? Leaders, they lead by example. They don't worry about what other people are telling them to do. Miss Haley, go ahead, ma'am.
Say you join a group or a club and they're doing something that you know that you cannot or are not allowed to do, and they're going against the law.
Exactly.
If you have low self-esteem, you would join them. But if you have high self-esteem, like 100% self-esteem, you will not do it.
Exactly. And that's super important because while we want to help out other people, we also want to make sure that we're doing the right thing so that we help the most amount of people and not just those people in those moments, right? We do things that help us to reach our goals and be a better person for society, not drag us down. So, Mr. Aiden, can you read the next paragraph? It says, as adults.
Yes. As adults, we obey the laws and take actions that would make our families proud. We can make a difference in our communities by volunteering our time or money to charitable organizations. Also, as adults, we can encourage children to do the same, teaching them a habit of service that may carry on throughout their lives.
Awesome. Right. So obviously, one of the biggest ways that we can help society and other people that we may not even ever meet is things like donations and volunteering, right? Mastery recently started the Mastery Volunteering Program, which Mr. Aiden has been to all of the meetings, which is awesome. We're going to have another one right after this. So we talk about different ways that we can help people that we don't even know, people who are less fortunate than us, people out in the community, right? So just yesterday, we did the Toys for Tots drive, right? So we got donations for kids that are less fortunate than us. And because of you guys and all of the people that came and donated to people, again, that you don't even know, right? But we still care about them and we want to make sure that they have the best opportunity in life too. So you guys and anybody that donated helped to really change that Christmas for somebody else that may not have had anything if it wasn't for you guys donating. Or a couple of weeks ago, before Thanksgiving, right, we did the food drive and we collected food for people that could have helped them to, some people might not have had any food on their table, right? Because there's a lot of people that have less than we do. So you guys helped to make someone's day better, might have made their whole year just by allowing them to enjoy those holidays, right? People that you never meet, but you're going to help them out. Miss Haley, go ahead, ma'am.
But some less fortunate people could have a Christmas tree.
That's true. They might have some things, right? But now they have stuff to put under the Christmas tree too, because of people like you guys, people with high self-esteem who want others to feel better about themselves too. All right. So last paragraph. The most important thing we can do as people of high self-esteem is to stay involved in our society through our actions. We realize that having high self-esteem is part of what makes us leaders, and it's our responsibility to lead others through our example, right? So things like donations and volunteering. When you're younger and you're not an adult and maybe there's less of those things that you can do, you can show high self-esteem to the people around you just by doing what you're supposed to do and following the rules, right? Like in school. Maybe sometimes it's hard to sit through, especially since we're all on the Zoom right now, right? When it's virtual, it can be hard to pay attention. It can be hard to raise your hand and engage in the class, right? But you help everybody by listening and setting an example. If your friends are in class, right, and they're paying attention to the teacher and they're watching, but then they see that you are just on your phone or not paying attention or not trying. If you set the example for them, right, they like you and they want to be like you, then they're going to do the same thing. But if you show them that there's other kids who are raising their hands and staying engaged and focusing on the teacher, by doing those things, you might help other kids to learn faster and pay attention better, which helps the other students. It helps your teacher, right? And it helps you because you're all going to be learning and growing together. Okay, so just by following the rules, it's important. We know that our actions have an impact on society. As leaders, we know that our actions of today will become our legacy tomorrow. We want to make our communities and society better, and we show this desire through our caring, accountability, and respect for society. Actions speak louder than words, and as leaders, we show our self-esteem and build our legacy through consistently contributing to our society through our actions. All right, so can anybody give me one example, just from all of that, of a way that we can show accountability to society and help people get better? Yes, Ms. Haley.
You could pay attention to the teacher in class.
Great one.
And then if any people who aren't paying attention pay attention to you instead, they see that they're actually missing something.
Exactly.
If they have any worksheets they have to complete on that, then they won't know.
Exactly. So we can help other students to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, not by telling them what to do, but even just by showing them and setting the example, right? That's the most important way that we lead, is by our example and doing the right thing so that others see that we're genuine and they want to follow that. By the way, if we have good self-esteem, we know that everyone makes mistakes, right? It's okay to make a mistake as long as you also use that as a learning experience so that people can still continue to learn from you, right? We don't let it get us down or stop us from reaching our goals. We just keep pushing through. Anybody else? What's one way we could help out society? Show self-esteem for ourselves and other people. Does anyone else have an example? Mr. Aiden, go ahead, sir.
We could donate for research for medical equipment and for other diseases.
Awesome. Mr. Aiden is very into the medical world. I love it. Help him make a difference. Yes, Miss Jordyn, go ahead, ma'am.
To have a yes I can attitude and do what I can.
Perfect. Exactly. Even just by accomplishing your own goals and, focusing on school and what you're supposed to do, like we talked about, that sets an example for other people. Good job, Ms. Jordyn. All right. Lastly, there we go. We're going to talk about what we do in the world. So switching to page 26, Mr. Aiden. So as leaders, we know the world is affected by our actions. Self-awareness, one of our pillars. It means we must consider how our actions affect the world. If we truly love others, our environment, and the generations of the future, this means that today we must act in ways that improve the world, right? So before we read the next paragraph, can anyone tell me what they think that might mean? What are some things that we do that affect the world? Ms. Haley, go ahead, ma'am.
Some of the things that we can do to affect the world are simply follow along with the teachers.
Perfect. I always love that answer. Especially because we just talked about it was saying the future generations, right? You guys right now are the future generation. The kids who are learning in school right now are the ones that are going to be the doctors and the vets and the astronauts or whatever Miss Haley decides she wants to be. So it's important that you guys focus on your learning so that in the future, you guys have the base for what you need to learn all of those other things to help people in the future. Mr. Aiden, go ahead, sir.
We could recycle, we can stop littering, and we can also decrease the carbon emissions into the air.
You are very smart, Mr. Aiden. I love it.
Thanks.
Those are all great answers, and the more we take care of our planet, the longer that we get to keep being here and using it, right? We need to respect the earth that we have and all the animals and the plants and the humans that live there. Ms. Jordyn, go ahead, ma'am.
Not to litter.
Not littering. Perfect. Another great example of just how that might not seem super important to helping other people, but at the end of the day, if we all take care of the earth and we all make sure we clean up our garbage and there's no littering, that ends up helping everybody. All right, so we're gonna read the next part here. So we can take care of the world by recycling and putting litter in the trash. Great answers, you guys. Conserving resources and being respectful of nature and its animals. Okay, Miss Haley, what is it, ma'am?
Another way we could care for the world is enjoying it while we have it.
Exactly, and appreciating things.
5.4 billion years, the Earth may actually be consumed by the sun.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am glad that I'm not going to be around to see that. That's a lot of time, though, for us to make a difference in the meantime. Hopefully that's not true. All right, so let's have Mr. Aiden. Can you read the next paragraph? As leaders.
Yes. As leaders, we must be aware of things taking place in other parts of the world, and we must act to promote changes for the better. As adults, we can contribute our time or money to organizations that help less fortunate people from all over the world. As children, we can write letters or emails to pen pals in other countries.
Great, those are awesome examples, right? So people, again, that we may never meet in our lives, but there's still ways that we can affect them and help them, right? So society kind of focuses on the people, not necessarily just in our lives, but the people who follow the same laws as us, live in the same countries as us, things like that. But we can affect people across the world that live in a completely different type of society with completely different laws, completely different rules. And we are lucky enough that we live in a country that we should appreciate. While no country is perfect, we have a lot of freedoms and there's a lot of opportunities that we have from living here, right? But there are people that are not as fortunate. There's countries where there's a lot of people who are hungry, or a lot of people who don't have the shelter that they need or the clothes that we need, right? So the more self-esteem that we have and the more that we want to give to the world, it's important that we help in those areas, which could be just donating money, right? There's other people who already know about these issues and set up ways for us to help them, right? You don't have to go to Africa with a bucket of food and hand it out to little children, right? But just by spreading the awareness or helping donate money, those are different things that you can do to help those people out, right? And when you're younger, when you're maybe not ready to do all of that stuff yet, or volunteer, or go to those countries just yet, there's still things that you can do just by appreciating what you have, right? Like when maybe mom and dad makes a dinner that you don't like, right? Is there a food that you just really hate? Who's got one? Foods that you don't like, right? So you might not like those things, but appreciate that there are people that have way less than that, right? And you might not get your favorite dinner that one night, but that's okay, right? We still appreciate it and we don't waste our resources. That's a great way to show self-esteem. Might not be your favorite, but we can eat it anyway to make our body healthy and to show that you care about those other people in the world that have less than us. And then in the future, if you don't like that food, you can just donate it to other people. Hopefully they like it. All right. And then lastly, we are leaders and we must understand that we can make the world a better place. And this we will achieve only through our actions, right? So saying nice things about ourselves and other people is really important. But at the end of the day, people say that saying actions speak louder than words, right? So sometimes you might not say anything to a person and still be able to make a difference in their life and make a difference in the world just by what we do. That's the most important part, right? The reason why we say nice things and see nice things about ourselves and other people and think nice things about ourselves and other people, it's not just because it's nice, but it's because then when we do things and we actually go and act on those goals, we have a good foundation of that yes, I can attitude to help us reach it, right? If I say, yes, I can do a backflip, but then I sit on the couch eating potato chips and I never actually go and practice, am I ever gonna do it? No, exactly. So when we have good self-esteem, we say nice things about ourselves and other people, but at the end of the day, we have to actually go and practice those things that we say, leading by example. Would you want to follow someone who says a lot of really nice things, but then never actually follows through on any of it? Right, exactly. Somebody who's there late all the time, they set a goal and they never reach it. They tell you they're going to help you do something, but then they never do, right? Those people are not actually leaders, right? They might have the confidence to say those things, but they don't actually put it into practice. So as leaders, when we set a goal, we always push ourselves to achieve it, right? So we're actually going to set a goal at the end of this. Really quickly first, though, we're going to practice the pillars. Does everybody know the pillars of self-esteem? Perfect. Miss Jordyn, you've been practicing? All right, great. So we're going to do them together right now. I want everyone stand up if you can. Shake it out. If we have good self-esteem, we want our body and what we do to match what we say right now so that we're doing it at level 10, right? Just like in class, our ayahs need to match how strong we move our body. Look strong, sound strong, and move strong, okay? So we're going to practice the pillars together with me. Everyone say it with me. Say confidence.
Confidence.
Good. And you guys can actually go ahead and unmute yourselves for this part so I can hear all your loud, strong voices. All right, one more time. Say confidence.
Confidence.
Good. Say positive attitude.
Positive attitude.
Say self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Accountability.
Accountability.
Good. Say gratitude.
Gratitude.
Generosity.
Generosity.
Humility.
Humility.
And forgiveness.
And
Good. We're going to do those one more time. I want to put Miss Jordyn up on the screen. This is what good self-esteem looks like. Not only is she saying the word strong, but she's doing it level 10, and you can tell that she means it with a smile on her face. Just a reminder, we are getting tested on these at belt testing, so make sure you practice if you don't know them. All right, ready? We're going to say them strong, and we're going to try to copy Miss Jordyn and see who can follow her example. Ready? Everyone say confidence.
Confidence.
Good. Say positive attitude.
Positive attitude.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Accountability.
Accountability.
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Generosity.
Generosity.
Humility.
Humility.
And forgiveness.
And forgiveness.
Good. Everyone clap for Miss Jordyn. Nice job, man. That was awesome. I love the confidence. All right, we're going to remute really quick to finish strong, just so that everybody can hear. All right, perfect. So you guys did a great job today. I love that you guys all have such awesome answers, and I can tell that you're really listening and taking away from what you learned the last few weeks. So you guys are doing a great job, and that just shows how much self-esteem that you have, even just by being here. That's an action that you took to help make your self-esteem better, right? Coming and finding ways to learn, and always stay. Have you guys ever heard the saying, green and growing? Right? So if we have self-esteem for ourselves, think about like a banana, right? A banana is the best when it's like yellow and perfect and ripe, right? But what happens just a couple days after that? It starts to what? Starts to rot and get mushy and brown, right? So if we think, oh, I know everything I need to know, I'm perfect. This is the best place that I've ever been, and I'm just done here. I'm not going to grow anymore, right? It doesn't take long after that when you decide you're going to stop, that the world just keeps going, right? So we don't want to be brown and icky and mushy and let our brains rot because we think we know everything, right? We always want to stay green and growing and making ourselves stronger our whole entire life. Go ahead, Miss Haley.
It's kind of as if you're doing a race and halfway through you stop while the rest of the racers keep on going.
Exactly. Great job, Miss Haley. So making sure that we always are pushing ourselves to continue to grow. That's what we want to do as leaders. Not assume that we're already the perfect leader, but always keep making ourselves stronger. All right, so we're going to end really quickly. Did anybody do their goal last week for Miss Lamoy? Write a letter to somebody? You did, Miss Jordyn. Awesome, perfect. Who did you write it to?
My auntie.
To your auntie. Perfect. Did anybody else write a letter? Yeah, Miss Haley. By the way, if you haven't done it yet, you still can do it. It's not just in 1 week. Go ahead, Miss Haley.
I wrote a letter to one of my friends at school.
Perfect. Awesome. And that can be really helpful in these times when people don't have a lot of people to talk to just show them that you still care about them, right? Mr. Aiden, did you write a letter? That's okay. All right. So our goal for this week, since we're talking about actions and what we do, right? One of the ways that we talked about showing self-esteem was listening to our parents and following the rules. And as a kid, that's one of the biggest things that you can do is soak up as much information and learn as much as you can from your parents and your teachers about how to have good discipline, about how to reach those goals, right? Mr. Aiden, I don't know about you, but I don't know how to be a doctor, right? So I need to learn from somebody else who teaches me to do those things. So it's really important that we hold those people in high esteem and that we care about them and follow them, right? Like we're supposed to, so that we can one day be our own leaders and help other people grow too. Like one day, I'm sure you would be able to mentor and help other people to learn how to become a doctor, right? So I want you, for your parents, your teachers, your mentors, to do one thing for them or do something without being asked for them, right? So maybe you know that at the end of the week, they're going to tell you to clean your room. And maybe you're used to being told 3 or 4 times before you actually go and do it, right? So how about we do it before they even ask, and then you can grab them and show them, look, Mom, I care about you and I respect you and I love you. So I did this for you ahead of time. Or maybe you help them with an extra chore that you wouldn't normally do, right? So doing something nice that's going to help you and your parents. So whether it's helping them do the dishes, something that you wouldn't normally do without being asked. Does that make sense? To show them that you care and that you want to go above and beyond. So that's our goal, to show with our actions good self-esteem this week, is to find at least one thing that you can do for your parents. Maybe it's for your teachers. Maybe you get a homework assignment done before it was due, right? Anything simple like that. Does anybody already have some ideas? All right, perfect. So does anyone want to say any last thoughts, any questions? Miss Haley's usually full of them. All right, well, awesome job this week, team. It was great to see everybody. And next week, we are gonna see who actually did those goals and followed through with them. So great job today, team. Everybody put your hands in. We're gonna end it together like a class. We're gonna say, yes, I can on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yes, I can. Great job, team.